Hello and welcome, webinarians, to another Weberful episode of Kryton Live on fusedlogic TV. And again, I just keep hauling my friends out of their normal day jobs just to join me and kind of kibitz for a little while. My guests today are Kelly Kimo,
right here,
Vice President,
Thank you.
And John Beckett, the President of Axe Productions, considered one of the premier live event and live concert production companies in Western Canada, and in fact recently now international, because you were up in Inuvik and you've been down to Turks and Caicos, so we'll get into that. Today we're going to talk about what it takes to be a live event and live concert production company. Now, when you go to places, well, here let me take you there and give you a little taste of things. We'll look at the website right here. Right?
Here we go.
If you want to give us that look, there we are. There's the Axe Productions website. We're going to be perusing through that, but I think to sort of set the tone of what we're doing, let me bring back some memories for you guys here. We'll show this kind of stuff here. This is the kind of stuff that you guys do. It's the big stuff with the big screens and the trusses and all of that. We're going to be talking about how you pull all of this stuff off and what it takes. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Axe Productions? Because you guys were always Axe Productions, but you've been around forever. So tell us the company story a little bit.
There you go, Johnny.
1995, we started a company called Angel Audio. And what that was a couple of freelance sound engineers, being myself and another gentleman, were doing a whole bunch of rentals or being asked to produce events and look after the production needs of those events. We didn't own any gear at that time, and it started to really build up to the point where it made sense for us to go to the bank, get a loan, and buy some gear. That ran its course for 5 years or so, and then we were lucky enough to hook up with the guys from Axe Music. They invested a bit of money into the company, and in 2000 we moved the name over to Axe Productions, and here we are 16 years in, and things have grown considerably.
Now, how many gigs would you say you guys are doing in a year?
500 to 600.
When I did a count. It was 647 we did last year, big events.
You know that number?
Yep.
Well, that's pretty impressive. But
yeah, because aren't you the numbers guy, or he's the numbers guy?
We kind of
there's actually there's a computer program that shows we categorize when we do our billing under a certain category, and then it spits out the number.
I think the best story, and frankly what I should have done for this show, is simply take the camera on location and left it there in front of your offices for the day, because to work with these guys is unbelievable. There are always 12 conversations going on at the same time.
And sometimes we do it with each other.
Well, let's kind of work into this, and we're going to talk about the mechanics of what you guys actually do, what it all takes. And if you could go to the laptop here for me, and then we're going to roll a clip that we're going to talk to. Now, this is Rexall. And this is a large-scale production right here. I mean, if you follow my cursor around, you'll see we've got everything from trusses with lights that we're going to talk about, a video wall back here, of course, all the lighting, the staging, the back line. And for those of you who don't know what back line is, that's the equipment, the musical equipment and so on that might be needed by a local performer. So what I want to do is roll this clip. This is a time-lapse of a Rexall setup for the YC conference. And it's fascinating. If you roll out, we're going to speak to that. And you guys walk us through what's going on.
All right.
This is a large event we do every year at Rexall called YC, which stands for Youth Concert, put on by the Pentecostals and a company called Extreme Dream.
Yep.
And this is really what it takes to turn Rexall from a hockey rink into a concert venue.
Well, first they cover the ice.
They're covering the ice.
And this is before we come in.
Yeah.
This is the Rexall staff right now, right?
Right.
So they're
bringing in the staging there.
Yeah.
Working on the score clock, coming down, doing something to the score
taking
clock.
the lights off. They want to take it up higher.
Oh, they took all the advertising off it as well. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
And
it's amazing how fast people move when they're working.
It is. Well, they get paid by the hour, so.
That's right.
We saved a lot of money on this setup.
They told them they got
let's go. Okay, now we're getting
Here we go.
serious
Now we're starting to move in.
All right, so.
And this all takes place in a day. We get it up in a day.
Wow, is that right? What time do you start in the morning?
First truck load in is at 8 a.m.
Yep.
And we get out of there about midnight. It's a little slower for our setup than a typical concert setup that's traveling, because we're bringing all the elements together, on what they call a one-off.
Yeah, so it's not like it's a touring thing. We're putting it all together right on the spot there. We kind of have drawings. We draw it out. We know exactly what equipment that's going to be coming in.
Right.
And then we just got to get it all up. And then there's points.
Now the light show
Now
starting.
the lighting now's going in. We've got the front of house down.
And this is still the first day, by the way.
This is the first day.
First
okay.
day, because
okay.
you'll see at the end where, you know, a guy walks around and it's over, and then we all come back. There you go.
Yeah.
That's kind of, you know, we're saying goodnight right now to everybody. And now they're putting it up while we're all sleeping. They're like little elves over there.
Little elves. Isn't that
They
cute?
just come in and all of a sudden they see, oh, here we go. Morning just came by.
Yeah.
And now, of course, the lights are going. The fog is happening again.
Hey, there's a guy stealing something. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, look, I see you there, John.
Oh, he put it
You're
back.
fast.
It's okay. Yeah.
You're fast. Mover.
So all the chairs came in. Sound checks are probably starting to happen.
Yeah.
The next thing you'll probably see, because this is moving pretty darn
Okay,
rapid,
there you go. People are in
there's the
now.
people, yeah. So all of a sudden we go to 17,000 people stuffed in the round, which
Big
is
concert.
Wow, that's amazing.
now you're actually into the show.
Now, how many people does it take to operate a show like that? And I guess we should also mention there's video and camera. As a matter of fact, if you want to pull up the laptop here, this is a good shot from behind the setup. And as you can see, we have a jib cam in there, which is this guy down here. Let me take that back just a bit. But we see, how many people does it take in a show like this to actually pull it off?
Well, Michael, it takes 27 to do this one.
Oh, wow.
You know,
okay.
operators and all that. So
It's a 7-camera shoot plus the camera support, and then you add on top of that, half a dozen audio, a few lighting guys.
Now, when
It adds up quickly, yeah.
Let's walk through the process now. Someone comes to you, and you are at square one. All they have is a concept for a show, and they have a venue. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it from the point of view of maybe someone who is doing a large-scale event or an event of any kind, because you also do small-scale events as well, right? Because you guys have done Shaw, you've done the Jubilee, singing Christmas Tree at the Jubilee, for example. We'll take a look at a few of those photos as well. You've done pretty much every venue in the city. So someone comes to you who's not quite as experienced but has an idea. Walk us through the process. What happens?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But what happens? Here we go. You know, I know that Michael was saying the amount of events we do, from Rexall to Jube, small and big. Our biggest success and what we love to do is every event is important. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, you know, we want to let the client know that even if it's a little event, it's still going to get our full attention. And we take it that way. And so they come in and, you know, we start out with a notepad. And then with a notepad, we start out, you know, where is it going to be at? How many people are going to attend? And then we start working, you know, what do you guys want? What's the budget going to allow?
Right,
And that kind of determines what equipment we're going to bring in and what they're going to use. So we just we sit there, we mark it all out, we place it on down, and then the customer leaves, and then we like to assure the client that we'll take care of, you know, their needs, because so many times they come in, they're scared, they don't know what they want, and what we like to do is walk in and make it easy for them and comfortable, and leave away kind of, you know, happy and excited and not so intimidated and scared at this big project that they're doing.
Right. Now, you've done, in terms of planning, for example, let's take a look at this photo right here. It's kind of interesting because it's before anything happens. This is your setup for Lady Antebellum, and you've done Lady Antebellum and you've done Keith Urban in this venue at West Edmonton Mall. So that's quite a lot of work, I would imagine, to bring that in and use that rink area again.
That room has its own issues. There's certain guidelines that you have to work by when you're working at the mall. One of them is that they don't like you moving in a ton of heavy equipment during store operating hours. So that show that you just looked at there started at 6 a.m. And the mall was busy there all the night before, laying in plywood and carpeting the rink. And then our production crew comes in, I think, at 5 a.m. Isn't it, Kelly?
Yeah, it's actually 5:30.
There you go.
Because they all complain. We want them in at 5. They want to be in at 6, so we compromise for 5:30.
5:30. And then and that's a bit of a rush to set up, because usually those shows are early as well. They're not evening performances, of course. They usually, doors are at 2, shows at 3 kind of thing. So it's a lot of work to get done in a short period of time. But those things have been very successful at West Edmonton Mall, by the way. The turnouts have been in the 10,000 person bracket. They figure has passed through the area overseeing that, because it's multi-leveled there, and they've sold a lot of CDs by doing that. That's really what it's about. They bring in those acts, and it's a promotion, obviously, to move product.
Well, merchandise, right? The whole merchandise thing is, of course, what drives a lot of...
The Keith Urban one was fantastic. I think you were at that one.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fans.
That was the longest sound check in the world. Now, if you don't know what a sound check is, the band comes in and they check their sound, but Keith wasn't doing it. It was obviously his guy with the guitar. But that took like about, 2.5 hours, I think, or something to do the sound check or something?
His tech is very concerned about that, making sure when Mr. Urban walks out there, it's exactly the way that he likes it to sound.
Absolutely.
And I'll be honest with you, that room is so hard because of the glass dome, very echoey, and so it's a challenge. You're really stretching your abilities, your technical abilities at that point.
And I think what's important in terms of what differentiates you from a lot of the providers of this sort of production service, because it is a smaller industry, if you will, and of course there's very large scale companies everywhere in the world, but here, I think one of the things is that you come from rock and roll initially, so your experience in terms of staging and lighting and sound especially has been tempered and fueled by the number of years of experience you've had with really high level production, which I would suggest that's still important in all the corporate work you do, right?
I think that what that does for us, it gives us an edge in the corporate world. That I think that if the technicians and people that have come just from a corporate side haven't had to deal with the speed and the pressure that comes along with doing large-scale rock and roll events. So we take that into the corporate world. Our engineers are faster. Our approach to it is we get it up and working very quickly. And that's not to slag other companies. They have their own ways of doing things. But I think that just by bringing those elements together from a lighting perspective, audio perspective, and video now, that we can execute very quickly.
Now, one interesting story, and we're going to go to a clip shortly, but I want to ramp it up. One of the, and I had a chance to be involved with that as well. The challenge was that the client wanted to stage a fairly significant event in an underground parkade. Tell us that story.
Go ahead, Johnny. What happened was, okay, so we did it at City Center Mall, and then we walk in, we have the meetings, and they go, okay, where do you want to have this event? And they go, well, we want to have it down in the parkade. I'm going, oh yeah, that's going to be fun, because we all know how short the parkades are, low ceiling and everything. So we come walking in there and going, okay, yeah, not a problem, we can do it. That's always our philosophy. And I know so many times we can transform a room and just make it look spectacular. And you know what? Give us the challenge. I love it.
Well, if we do, if we could take a look at the photo here, you'll see that this is the actual one of the things that you guys invented called the truss bar, which is actually using lighting truss with plexiglass on top. And what else did you do to make this thing work? The photo's a little blurry.
Well, we have like truss warmers, they're called. So we have lights inside the truss that changes the colors of the truss and just kind of gives it a nice warm look to
It's definitely a unique look that you won't find in every event, that's for sure. And that was a very large bar. I think that bar was 90 feet long.
As you can see,
That was a big bar we put in there.
And then, so, once the lights were turned off and everything was on and we had lights everywhere, this looks spectacular.
We'll talk a little bit about the importance of maintaining inventory, of bringing new inventory in. So we're going to take a look at things like your new Hotsy-Totsy DigiDesign SL48 venue console. You see, I can say that right. Look at that right off.
Pretty impressive.
You see, I practiced that for 12 hours before I came here. And also things like the new video fly pack as well as the truss bar. We'll take a closer look at the insides of what it takes to maintain inventory and stay on the edge of things. Let's take a look at the setup for what was the underground sound party, and featuring a very important artist, by the way, who was will.i.am.
That is correct.
That's right. So it was a very big event in a very quirky location. This is the setup for your enjoyment at Edmonton Event Center, Edmonton City Center underground parkade. This is what Axe Productions had to do to put it together. Enjoy.
All right.
We're taking a venue which is literally a parking garage and turning it into a New York nightclub, creating the biggest party in Edmonton for the Rexall Edmonton Indy, bringing in one of the biggest entertainers in the world, will.i.am.
Will I Am. Nobody would have thought, eh? In an underground parquet.
I'm sure he never would have thought he was playing.
I'm playing in the parquet.
I mean, here's the what we see in the back is the video wall. Interesting thing, the video wall. For people to understand what a video wall, it's like take a lot of monitors that look like TVs that weigh about 12,000 pounds a piece. They're really heavy things.
They're pretty heavy.
And it takes a forklift to put them in place, and you can stack them in a variety of configurations, which you can see. Well, let's talk a little bit about gear, and what I want to do now is actually go to first thing we can talk about, because let's talk about gear first of all. What it takes to maintain and sustain. How much do you guys have to do to keep on top of the gear and the inventory that you supply in order to be in terms of what you're doing now?
Because we come from a musical background, a lot of the gear that we have to own and have in inventory is what we call rider-driven. So what that means is even an artist like Will I Am, he'll be coming out to do an event. He will send along his contract. This is how much he costs. This is what food he wants. This is the flight. And then there'll be an addendum to that contract, which is called the rider. And that rider will have specific equipment that he needs in order to feel comfortable and pull off his show. Right. That happens on the way all the way up to every band. Yep. And if you want to be in that game, you have to play that game, meaning that we have to purchase stuff that are on riders. And it may be stuff that Kelly and I don't even necessarily like.
Or don't even want to own, which we do lots, but we got to get it so many times.
It's things that we have to have. It's tools of the trade that we have to be in the game. Once you go into the corporate side of things, that loosens up a little bit, meaning that most corporate clients aren't going to come to you and go, I want a GLS D1.
Well, they give you a window. So you can work with the window.
It has to be acceptable. When they show up, here's what the corporate client wants. When it shows up, it's got to look fantastic. It's got to sound great. That's what they want to know. They're not going to go, I specifically need this. So there's kind of two sides to the industry that way. But because we're, again, bringing us back to the corporate world, because we've come from a rock and roll background, we've had to step up to the plate, and our level of equipment is extraordinarily high.
Now, some of the major additions. By the way, you are watching Kryton live on fusedlogic TV, and our chat room is active. So be sure you can ask questions, or you can ask questions of John and Kelly about production, whatever you feel. If you happen to be in the industry and want to know more or getting started, by all means, ask us some questions. One of the first things you did was last year. You added the Vertec array, which really brought things up to speed. Now, what is it about the Vertec array that makes it such a special piece in terms of the sound part of what you do?
Kind of back to rider-driven, riders. There's half a dozen, not even half a dozen. There's probably 3 or 4 companies that are considered the top at what they do in line array systems. And line array, for those of you that don't know, when you go to a concert and you see the PA hanging down in a bit of a
As a matter of fact,
Michael, you got pictures of that?
Let me just go to the website here. I've got a smaller one, but there we
are.
There
it is right there.
So that's not real big. I don't know if you can see that right there. There's an array. The angle of those arrays, like the most amazing thing about the Vertec is that first of all, you can program all of the angles and the delays between one array and another.
It's all worked out beforehand before you put it in the air. And there's a thing called shading. Is that where you're
That's what it's called, shading.
So the top boxes are shooting the furthest, generally speaking.
Right.
So they would be the loudest in the array. As you come down the array, they shade it, so it gets quieter and quieter.
So
even sound throughout.
So what's happening now? You know how people go, if you go up front, it's going to sound louder. Not necessarily anymore.
Right.
What we try to achieve is try to get even sound throughout the whole room, from the front row to the back row, and that's the technology of the line array cabinet.
And it's scientifically calculated. So if you have an array that's just off the front of the stage, and you got one at midway point, it's literally calculated in terms of what is it, a few milliseconds per 100 feet or something in terms of the sound coming out of the
sound travels.
Sorry, that was what? I'm sorry.
1,140 feet a second is what sound travels.
Did you go to college?
But something interesting about that line array. We were talking about riders and how our business is rider driven.
Yeah.
For instance, we're very fortunate. We got a great gig coming up. Robert Plant's been asked to play the Winnipeg Folk Festival.
Wow.
And with his band called Band of Joy, and which is a pretty big deal. We're all old rockers, so we're pretty impressed anytime we can get near Robert Plant. We have the closest. We are the closest sound company that has one of these JBL Vertec line arrays to Winnipeg, and his request is a Vertec rig, and there isn't one in Winnipeg, so we got the call, and we're sending a Vertec rig out to do Robert Plant.
Wow.
Which is, an honor and a thrill at the same time.
Well, you've worked with the Rolling Stones. You've been on tour with those guys. And, I mean, when you look at the lineup, that from everything from President Clinton, as I mentioned, and Lady Antebellum and Keith Urban, I mean, it's amazing how, obviously, Axe Productions is a go-to company for this kind of thing.
I think, you know, what the good thing about this is, you know, we decided we had choices of what we wanted to go with speaker boxes. And you know what, after long, you know, meetings and thinking it over, we decided to go with this box, the Vertec.
Yeah.
And it's just nice when you get a call and that's what, you know, they're asking for.
It's Robert Plant. I mean,
and it works.
Just Robert.
And, you know, and
Bobby.
Well, the thing is, we're still, you know, close to 1,500 kilometers away.
Yeah. So you guys drive it out or you fly it out?
We'll be driving.
Tractor trailer, right?
It'd be expensive to fly.
Well, so I think what people don't understand about the team is the fact that you know all the guys on the team are very qualified and are stringers. I mean, they have the proper licenses to drive these things. It's amazing how loyal they are. It's like a moving company watching everything go in and out of the warehouse. Let's take a look at the newsletter and move on.
It's funny how you're saying a moving company because we always say, we're professional movers.
Yeah, well,
that's exactly what we do. It's
exactly.
We're always moving the same thing over and over again.
Now, speaking about the types of things that you move, we go to my laptop here. This is your newsletter. It comes out every month to subscription base, and you can go online to axeproductions.com and request the newsletter. But here we're taking a look at one of your brand new puppies you've added to the thing, which actually is not brand new. But what you did is you had a video mobile and decided that all of the gear in this van in the truck was sometimes it was difficult to access the site. So now you've created
it was very hard driving into buildings.
So now Colin Dietert, incredibly
very
talented
smart guy.
Guy, has configured this what they call a fly pack in 4 different cabinets that are obviously movable separately, but you have access from the front and rear.
It's like the Wizard of Oz.
It is. Yes. There you go. And the other thing you guys are really proud of is this guy right here, which is the DigiDesign Venue console. Now what's
consoles?
The console. Now, what can you do with these? What makes them so special?
You go.
Well, here we go. We'll go. What they are is they're digital consoles, and that's the way the whole market is going nowadays. So things are changing rapidly. So we used to have old analog consoles, they're called. So and what they were all full of knobs and everything. Now it's digital, where there's a lot less knobs on them, so it's kind of less intimidating to people actually sometimes. But you can store a lot of things in there. You can store your previous shows, and you can just recall it up, and then when you recall it up, it just restores it back to even if you did 3 shows down the road, or you put it on a USB stick, and you have all your outboard gear, which is all your effects. And with the DigiDesign it comes with Pro Tools, so you can actually record everything as you're going. You come to direct outs, and it just automatically just records, and then you can take it back, and you can edit it later on, and just make live recording.
Well, you had me after I love you. We have a question. It's like I love when people explain technical to me. I'm going, it sounds really cool. But what I want to understand, obviously, is the ability to do live and also capture what you're doing. Got a question from Robert F. here is to John. What is the most difficult piece of artist rider equipment you have ever had to source?
Good one.
It is a good one.
How about that one keyboard?
Keyboard and pedal steel. Both of them, interesting enough, are backline. And what backline is, as Michael mentioned, is musicians fly in. You're doing large-scale events, they fly in. What's happened just recently, too, with the airlines is they've dropped the weight that guys can get away with.
Right.
So we're even having to do more backline now because things they would have flown with before their personal equipment, they're not flying. So we did sticks. And they had a couple old analog or actually
Motif 8s.
Yeah,
I still remember the old motifs.
Anyway, we couldn't find the keyboard anywhere but in Toronto. So nobody had this keyboard. They don't make it anymore. Is the problem. So it's not like it's not new and in stock with other companies.
Right.
So it's a bit of a not a collector's item, but you know what I mean. It's a little harder to get. And you look at that. So you're doing a band, and the expenses are XXXXX. All of a sudden, we had a $1,500 keyboard rental because we had to fly it in or not fly it and get it shipped in from Toronto and then ship it back just for one show. Pedal steel, the same thing. There's not many pedestals for rent.
Well, I imagine people don't realize the things that you guys will have to deal with. Like recently you did a gig in Inuvik. That was an international gig that actually came off the website. It was kind of neat.
Yes.
And it was for a company called Farba. It was a large...
No. Fluda.
Fluda?
Fluda tires.
I don't think it was Fluda.
Yeah.
Fulda. I thought it was.
Fulda.
We don't know how to say
we really don't know.
It's German.
Something like that.
I don't know.
V.
A large tire company.
I thought it was Fluda.
A large tire company in Germany called these guys, all right? So what happened was they wanted to do a gig for like 100 people in Inuvik.
100 people.
But it was a big gig. Like this thing was huge dollars. And
I can't imagine what the final budget was for all around.
And he had a tractor trailer. So you guys just briefly tell
Kelly
us.
actually
That's a great
he
story.
can
You should tell that story. Just to briefly how fun it was.
You know what? I really have a hard time with cold weather, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was the coldest thing I've ever experienced. It was so cold.
I can tell you one thing right out of the gate that he's talking about, which you would never see coming. So the semi shows up. They get to it's in a community hall. We're going to turn this community hall into a world-class nightclub, basically.
Yeah.
So it's literally 50 below.
Yeah.
They back the semi-trailer. The door is just a regular man door. They don't have big doors on it.
Yeah, it was so hard getting in.
So they open the door. They load in a few pieces of gear. The guy is responsible for the community center, and thank God he's smart because it would have been a problem.
Yes.
He's got a thermometer out. He watches how the temperature in the room drops. The temperature of the room drops down to about 5 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, close the door.
Well, actually, it was down to -10.
Oh, he let it go to minus?
-10, and that's why we really had to shut down.
How long then did the process take compared to normally?
But just to finish that, so what would happen is he'd say it's too cold.
Yeah.
We'd have to close the door and just wait. Now we have to wait for the room to heat back up because we're going to pop the pipes. Okay, so how long did it take you to unload a semi?
It took us, you know what? It took us close to 10 hours to unload that semi.
Okay.
And it was just one
semi in maybe an hour, maybe half an hour.
And we were frozen on top of that. So
plus you're
it was just so cold and you're sliding. It was just very, very tough.
So you can imagine the crew outside in 50 below having to keep going for 10
Nobody
hours.
was happy.
And we're only unloading. We're not setting anything up. Thank God we got there so early. We had a few days
it was a few days set up. Just because, you know what, it was just so hard to deal with that weather.
Now, one thing that impresses me about you guys is really your ability to remember details that most people would never remember. I mean, your knowledge.
I don't know how true that is, Michael.
The best part is listening to these guys talk about it's like, well, that's the MG 1200. That's not like the 650 that came before the 3X. And then, no, I think we should swap that out for the. Anyway, I don't understand it, but it sounds marvelous. Want to record it and release a CD called Baffle Gap.
I'm just really good when it comes to detail.
Okay, to take us out on this program. Because we're just about out of time. What I'd like to do is I'm going to go to these photographs, and here's the trivia test. Tell me what gigs these are from.
All righty.
You ready? Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
All right, let me just enlarge this too, because I know you maybe need glasses. Okay, okay, what's this one?
That is Shaw Conference Center. That was Alberta Aboriginal Youth Awards, which we call AAYAA.
Okay, Kelly's got one. All right.
That was the same gig, only at the Windspear.
Wow, that was a really that's where we met.
We did.
Yes,
absolutely. That's where we met at the Windspear, and we're doing it again this year.
We are
at the same place.
At the same place.
Yes.
All right.
That was Shaw Conference Center, TFC, as you can see. So some of the
You've
done
a lot of the fights. Yeah,
yes.
You've done the fight club.
We've done pretty well every fighting
in Edmonton
group in the city. We've done most of the work, except for a big one moved to the Cree, and we didn't do that one. But every other fight pretty well in the city we've done.
Well, with Aggression MMA, I had the chance to actually be the ring announcer.
That's right, you were the ring announcer.
There you go.
Let's hear a little bit of that right now.
Oh, yeah. Let's get ready to rumble. Sorry, yeah.
Shaw Conference Center, the CCMAs. Country Music Awards.
Yeah, actually, you guys got quite a bit of press out of that too in the Journal. They came down to take a shot.
We had a problem with that. If you want to talk about that for 1 minute.
Yeah, okay, talk about it.
So the Journal comes in and does an interview with Kelly and I about doing the CCMAs. It was a great thing. The room looked fantastic. We were very thrilled to be part of that event.
Yeah,
and I'm working right with the producers of the CCMA very closely to make sure things look the way that they want. And it was a busy week. And so they put an article out on us in the journal, which was great, with a nice picture. And right under the picture it says, John Beckett and Kelly Kimo, the producers of the CCMA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we were not the producers of the CCMA. We were the production providers. So I walk in the next day, and there are the producers of the CCMA kind of looking at me like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
Right
not my comment.
See that?
Anyway.
If we go back to the picture that's up on the screen here, you can see that. Well, if I enlarge it,
Look at John's picture.
You can tell that they're probably coming into the room because you're looking away, or you're trying to run away.
I think he was looking. Yeah,
There's
he
a
was
random
trying to
picture
scare.
right there.
He was running away from those guys.
All right, next
See those
that's
guys
right,
behind
we're
him?
trying to
Yeah,
get
there
away.
they
They're
are.
like the little guys
Yeah,
back
the little
there, right
guys back
behind
there.
him.
Okay, this one.
This is
Let me just enlarge
that
that.
was
Chamber ball.
Chamber ball with
Burton Cummings
Oh yeah,
and
that's Cummings and Bachman.
Randy
Bachman,
Bachman.
yes.
Yeah, they still
The
alive.
big
Canadian
flag in
flag,
the background. And we did a cool thing on that. We did what's called a reveal.
Oh yeah.
So for one song, I think it was Welcome Back to Saskatoon or...
yeah.
Well, that's not the right name.
No.
Saskatoon. Anyway, they wanted all of a sudden the flag to appear, and we had to do a reveal, which is having that covered, and boom, all of a sudden it appears. Yeah.
And
Well, you guys have been good at that because you've had two incredible events in the warehouse at Axe Productions.
Yes.
First year you had Trooper as a surprise guest, and then this past Christmas you guys had Ruben Studdard, the former American Idol,
winner, yeah.
Number two.
followed by Streetheart.
yeah.
And here's what we're doing. It's a Christmas party that we're throwing every year. You're all invited.
You're all invited.
You're all invited.
Everybody's invited, just like
Everyone's
that.
invited. And it's kind of like a payback to our clientele.
And you never tell anybody what's going to happen.
We
No.
try as
We
best
keep
we
it-
can to keep it top secret.
We just
but
want people to come out just to come out.
we want them to come out for the camaraderie, not the
thankful.
entertainment. And we promise to provide good quality.
Let's take a look at
Whether
this
I
one.
might, sing and dance, or
absolutely.
Michael, you too, if you can.
Mike,
come out.
Yeah. You guys have never asked me to perform, but that's okay. I'm cool. Now, this is really interesting because
Maybe 10 years from now.
This shows something that you guys have just introduced into your
This is a new look, yeah.
your portfolio here. This is the
Yes.
chamber ball just past done. And this round thing has really become quite a use as Freezer Man as well.
Yeah,
at
it's
Expo
freezing
Center.
man. Yeah, John custom
Freezing
made
Man.
that big ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's basically a large. It's like a large video screen that is.
I'll just tell them what it is.
Or a very resilient
We can
condom.
tell
that
them what
was
it
We
is.
can, no, we won't tell them what it
No,
is.
we can't tell them what it is.
We can't
It's a large
because
video
we're like
screen.
magicians.
It's a video screen, and the four projectors, which if
Yes.
you follow
Are
my
in the four
cursor,
corners, yeah.
are in the
It's hitting
corners, are hitting it. And actually, at Freezing Man, you got a guy that was walking around the ball.
In circles,
Yes.
yeah.
Wow,
We
that
did
was
that
awesome.
too here.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
this is just another
some
shot of
pictures.
it from back. As you can see, big truss construct and in terms of hanging, the light show, the screens. I mean, you guys do it all.
Well, we're always trying to look for new looks.
Here it is, famous picture
Different
that's
looks,
also
there
on
you
your
go.
website. There's Clinton.
This is years ago. And,
Yeah. Well,
quite a few, right?
Bill came by. He wanted us to do his
Bill
thing.
Foley
and we were
came
Came
going,
by and said, "Hey,
you know what? I said, I don't know, we're busy. But then, I looked at her thing and I
did
said,
not-
okay, we'll do
I
it.
did
I
not
said, is
do
Hillary
any-
coming? If Hillary's not coming, we're out.
Yeah, and he said, I
And-
did not have anything to do with that other
any of
production
that,
company.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
exactly what he was saying.
And this,
Oh, there you
there
go.
it is. This is a good memory.
Kevin Costner,
at
yes.
the ball. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Kevin
was,
Costner's band is called what?
Kevin Costner's
Kevin
band.
Costner's band.
No, that's
Yes.
not it. He has
No?
a
Okay.
name.
Though there's what we
well,
talked about, the Digi-Design.
And the news?
No,
Oh, wait, that's
Huey
you.
Lewis.
There's Costner again.
Oh, there's Costner.
A little bit of a
We'll just
close-up
call
of
it
it.
Costner's band.
Costner's band. Now, this was the Heroes of Woodstock. This was
Yes.
1, 2, 3. What are you fighting for?
That's him.
That's
His name is?
Joe.
Joe,
Country
Country
Joe.
Joe. We used to do Country Joe and
Yes.
the Fish, and he was hosting the show. There's the wider shot.
There's
you
the
can see
video
use.
wall in the background.
There's
Yeah.
the
Look at the
video
fire
wall
there
in the
in the back.
background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this was Freezing Man, right?
Yes.
I
This is
believe.
Freezing
There's
Man.
a couple of
Yeah,
these shots
that
in
was
here.
Freezing Man.
Large LED paneling there. Yeah.
Yeah,
back.
yeah, really cool.
And by the way, that sound system has 172,000 watts of power
Ow!
pushing out. Yeah, so
That's a big PA. Yeah.
It's
That's
it gets a little bit loud.
There's
We've never
Mr.
pushed it.
Giuliani, another famous face
Yes.
that you
Giuliani.
also did. And these are set pieces that you guys actually have
Yes.
in stock,
Let me
right?
put lights
There's the
in the
bar
back.
that we've
There's the
seen.
bar.
We've seen that one.
Oh,
you did
there's
the
a-
install at Kingsway Garden Mall. They actually
Yes.
contracted you guys just to install all that stuff.
That's something outside our norm, but we it's
actually,
a very
what-
high-tech setup there. Yep.
Very high tech. The lights. I don't know if anybody's been there. We've actually done 2 now for that company. They want
Yeah.
us. We're kind of their Canadian installers.
Okay, so you do Christmas trees for people.
Well, kind of not.
Oh,
Those are very. They're intelligent trees, they call
intelligent
them.
trees.
So they kind of move the lights, move with the light.
Right.
The amount of programming, lighting-wise,
Now,
that's at Rexall?
Yeah, this is more from YC, and just to show some of the lighting setups and designs that have done. This is a wide shot at Rexall. That really is just amazing, the amount of work that goes into it.
We use a lighting designer from Nashville.
There you go.
Daniel Smallbone.
Now, all the people that they asked when they were unveiling the monument in Mayerthorpe with former Prime Minister Harper. I don't know if it would be former now. You guys went in there and did the entire setup on site for the unveiling, right?
Yeah.
Wow. It's
pretty heavy security there, too.
I bet.
You notice how there's nobody around the stage except for the camera guys?
That's right.
Those were the only guys that were allowed around there.
That is a bulletproof podium you're looking at.
Yeah.
There's a 1-inch lead in there.
Holy mackerel. This is just interesting. I pulled this one out because I thought this is just clever use of truss for, this was at Nate, I believe, right? So you guys can do just about anything. Oh, this is the singing Christmas tree at the Jubilee, which you've done now 2 years in a row. And I think what I like about this is how many microphones, what's the sound that's involved? Because obviously this is a musical event.
We were at 100 and what channels on this?
It was 128 channels
on audio, which is massive. That's as big as it, pretty well as big as it gets next to giant
full
award
orchestra, everything.
There's another shot of just the
jib.
That's the jib there. Beautiful shot, beautiful thing.
Hey, that's our
party.
What
we didn't talk about was the SO100. You guys have just acquired a portable stage. You can't see it as well here, and we do have a smaller picture.
Yeah, we kind of moved that inside. That was indoors.
This is basically a stage you pull behind a truck.
Yes.
And it unfolds. It folds down and
very
opens
quickly. Within about an hour and a half window, you can have a stage set up. So with production, I'd say in under 3 hours, we could be up and ready to go.
Wow. And there's a shot of it, not from one of your events. I actually stole this, but from Stage Line, but typical of the setup. Yeah, that's the unit right there.
Love the balloons, by the way.
It is very pretty. This is the setup with Keith Urban.
Keith Urban.
Yeah, Keith Urban. Yeah, just you can see this is Keith Urban was down here ultimately, and then this was the.
Well, for the Country Music Awards, we were in there too. The ice was packed.
There's the man himself. Great stories that this fellow here, Steve, who works for Axe, everybody thought
he wants to get into the shots.
He thought he was a security guy. They thought he was a security guy.
He looks kind of mean.
This shot went kind of viral, I think, over the net. There's Sean
look at that,
from Wide Mouth Mason.
Yeah. Yes, that was at our shop.
That was at the party,
one of the parties.
Yeah.
We always have special guests come on.
What a great show. This is, again, another shot. Just shows the jib in action with the video wall. This is at Rexall as well. Nice shot to finish on, gentlemen, I think, is with this one. I mean, that's
one of my favorites.
There's a money shot right there. This is, again,
that was my desktop for...
There you go. I mean...
it's a crazy-looking light show.
It's a crazy-looking thing. And, of course, you guys also do a little bit of small rentals, so you can go to Axe Productions' website and literally... ask for the small thing, but that's sort of pays for the coffee, I guess. So
yeah, Michael, obviously you went over a lot of the larger scale events, which are the more interesting ones probably to talk about. Yep. But we do events from. I just said do.
You just said it, man.
Do.
On internet, live internet.
We do events
he didn't mean to say that.
100 people up to 17, 20,000 people. We've done
even 20 people, 5 people,
even 5 people. We're doing an event right now with 1 microphone, Kelly.
Look at that.
1 microphone.
Well, there's 2. Michael has 1.
Yeah, well, if you count my name, that's 3. 3 mics. Mike.
But we do a lot. We do a lot of small events in the Westin, in salons at Shaw, and things like that.
Yeah, we like,
they call them breakout rooms with a projector and a screen and a couple speakers with a microphone. Yeah. We can do anything from that size right up, and we're happy to have all the work. So as much as...
Just some comments from the guy online, and I thought this was kind of funny because you wouldn't believe his name. His name is Robert. It's probably Plant. But it says Plant. It says cool.
Well, maybe Robert Plant too did.
Yeah, that guy says 50, man. No thanks. 50 is ridiculously cold. He says that's cool. There you go.
Yes, I agree. It was so cold. You know what? I don't know if I'd ever go do that again. It was just too cold.
Just too cold. Not enough money.
And
you know what? It's not even not enough money. How much? I don't think any money's almost kind of worth it. Just because, you know what? It's dark all day, and you know what? It was so cold. You'd never keep the car. The car would always keep running all night.
Well, the back end of that story is that unfortunately our guy got caught in the truck because apparently the tractor trailer that
froze
up on the road.
Froze up. It was just. It was
actually
so
a documentary coming out about that.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was hoping to have a clip for this, and I did chase the fellow. But that's right. There was a German documentary filmmaker who came over and followed the entire process. And And once we have it, we will post it on the Axe Productions website. Guys, I want to thank you for dropping by.
Hey, thank you for having us. We love talking.
We certainly could talk a lot more about so many other factors. I mean, one day you have to drop by and listen to this guy play guitar and this guy drink coffee. It's really amazing what they're completely professional. Kelly Kimo and John Beckett.
Thank you, everybody.
The co-founders.
Thanks for taking time to watch this. And thank you, and you guys over there working too.
Check them out on axeproductions.com. There's always updates on the homepage that tell you what they're doing and where they're going. Just look for the Axe Productions logo. You'll be sure to see them there. And what I'd like to do, if we don't mind repeating ourselves, Evan, I'd like to take us out on that underground sound video because I think it really tells a wonderful story of what's a great crew. To all the crew out there, Chiz, Colin, TJ, Jordan, Arnell, I'm probably missing some guys. Wes,
Colin,
we'll
Gordo, we call him. But you know what? Thank you to all the guys out there that do this kind of stuff. It's a hard thing to do. And you know what? I admire everybody who's in it because
we appreciate our staff a lot.
Our staff and even everybody else's staff.
And I appreciate my staff too. Derek, Evan, thank you so much. Maria for helping out. I'm Michael Kryton for Kryton Live on fusedlogic TV. Have a good one.
We're taking a venue which is literally a parking garage and turning it into New York nightclub, creating the biggest party in Edmonton for the Rexall and Indie, bringing in one of the biggest entertainers in the world, Will.i.am,